Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is April 23rd, 2025. We're doing business and security and social, right? Social. There's 3 sections because Tuesday was all business.
No.
Or not business. Shit. It was all government. It's all government.
We don't know what's happening in our country right now. Please.
Also, time isn't real, and it just feels like it's going faster and faster.
Well, this one's not about our country. It is about a country who services our country. And shockingly, they just can't figure out where's all the business going. Oh, it must be, just some economic downturn. It's definitely not that we're easily replaced by robots now.
Client caution weighs on India's $280 billion tech services industry. So this is a lot of words to say that Indian outsourcing for tech is not really doing as well as it used to. And it's probably because AI is able to do a lot of those low-level tasks now.
They expected growth of 6.3%. They got 0 to 3%. It could be 100% loss. I don't know what the margin of error there is, but yeah. You don't need those little basic jobs anymore because robots can do them. Not well, but neither did those companies. And Amazon, as usual, is getting crushed by anything to do with China because most of the things that they stock is Chinese garbage. And he's saying that, he thinks the customer is going to pay for that.
Amazon CEO Andy Jassy says he believes sellers will pass increased tariff costs on to consumers. Yes. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
If you're drop shipping from China, there's not a lot of margin there because it's really easy to do.
I'd be sweating a little bit if I was him, but
I think it'd be all right.
yeah, I guess he himself will be all right.
Yeah.
He may not make it out as CEO, but
even if he doesn't,
he'll get a golden parachute.
He's going to be okay. And Intel, we don't know if they're going to be okay, but they're trying to turn things around, and looks like they're going with the divest and focus strategy.
Intel to sell majority stake in Altera for $4.46 billion to fund a revival effort. So they sold controlling interests of 51%. They still own 49%. Their FPGA business that they bought not that long ago.
And for more than twice what they sold it for.
Mm.
Yeah. Ouch. And we learned last week that TSMC was going to be teaming up with Intel. And it's like, wow, that's weird because everything we've heard about that is that they had totally different business models. They didn't want to team up. Well, maybe that was fake news.
TechSpot's headline is TSMC denies reports of a joint venture with Intel as the U.S. pushes for domestic chip solutions. And that was the CEO at TSMC shutting that down. So I figure he would know.
Or he's just faking everybody out. But how much will the things that you desire go up in price? We are starting to get some indication.
Sony hikes PlayStation 5 price by 25% as the tariffs take hold.
Now, this is just the digital non-disc version, and they said the other version wasn't going up. Well, I don't understand why that would be.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Did they already mark that one up a bunch, or
was that one already stocked in the United States? They were just doing one manufacturing run at a time?
I guess it could be. But they're going to have to restock those, right? It's not like you can just stop doing that.
One would think.
Unless everybody's too poor to buy one, and then the stock will last forever. And Apple did this recently because cops and Android has copied it.
Android phones will soon reboot themselves after sitting unused for 3 days. This is a security measure to make it harder to brute force the pin or break into a device that is sitting in an evidence room somewhere.
Man, I wish I could go 3 days without touching my phone. That's a life goal.
I can't. Like, even on my days off, or like when I'm hiking and stuff, like you still use your phone to check time or
it's like
take a picture.
It's a pacifier. We're tethered to it.
Yeah.
And old people, we have some older viewers who actually we're not that even far from at this point.
Yeah.
But they get really angry when we say that old people are bad at tech. And of course, it's not universal, but I think it is a stereotype that fits in a lot of cases. But here's some good news.
Older people who use smartphones have a lower rate of cognitive decline. Or, in my case, it's so demanding of my attention, it's accelerating my cognitive decline.
I could see it's like probably a way to stay connected. You're learning a new skill if you've never used a phone like that before. Like,
But here's the thing, right? Correlation is not causation, and it could be flip-flopped. It could be that people who already weren't having mental decline keep using phones, whereas the other ones don't, because they're already in mental decline.
it's a good point.
So you can't be sure about that, but they do need them to function.
They're playing the Wordle. That's what they're doing all day. Bejeweled.
My parents love word type games.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I tried to, like, Dad's big into crossword puzzles, and I was like, on your tablet, you can just do infinite crossword puzzles. He's like, no, I'm going to buy the big book from Amazon.
and then just do them.
And here's something that, I don't know if this is like fake technology or whatever, but if it's not, it really is going to change things in a big way.
Australia unveils jam-proof quantum tech that's 50 times more accurate than the GPS. So this uses quantum sensors to do its job, which is not vulnerable to external interference. And it measures the Earth's magnetic field, which, varies a little bit and can vary in, the XYZ direction. This is 50 times more accurate. I think that headline got it wrong because the paper from the company was 50 times more accurate than acceleration-based position estimation. But these are absurdly accurate quantum sensors, apparently.
But those sensors are so accurate that there's a lot of noise. So it does require AI to filter all of it, which adds a bit of a layer of questionability in my mind.
Yeah. This might be okay as like a backup. Like, oh, GPS has stopped working. And it's like, okay, we'll continue using this for now.
But you're going to have enough horsepower on the device,
Yeah.
which is another tricky thing. Because, like if you want to put it in a tiny little explosive drone, that's wasteful. And companies, especially tech companies, they love to trademark and, copyright things that are just commonplace. And it's disgusting, but they won't stop doing it.
Figma sent a cease-and-desist letter to Lovable over the term dev mode.
I feel like Figma's like quickly going down.
Figma really wants to own the term dev mode.
Now, developer mode, that's fine. But if you shorten it to dev mode, well, that belongs to Figma. That's their argument. Dev mode is going to be the let AI, that's the vibe mode, actually. Just call it vibe mode in your product.
They have AI tools in Figma, and it's constantly trying to get me to use them. And I'm like, I don't need this. I just need to get to the material UI icons, please.
Now, this one, I wonder, was this an excuse because demand and tariffs and so forth? Or was this really something that they got wrong? It's hard to know in the modern world.
Samsung pauses One UI 7 rollout worldwide. The update's on hold after some South Korean users suffered from a quote-unquote serious bug.
Serious bug being unable to unlock the phone by any means, which does seem serious.
It stopped being a phone.
I hate to be on the end of that email if you're a developer for that phone.
I really should have put these stories together. I think this is kind of the same thing, but this might have been actually the one where they did the study where they got the different ages.
The Guardian's headline is "Risks to Children Playing Roblox Deeply Disturbing," say researchers. They're probably not wrong, but I have to go through articles like this and think about, it's like, what if children had unfettered internet access, not just Roblox, but like just completely unfettered internet access? Because that's what I had growing up. It probably didn't mess me up too bad.
The internet was a different place when we were young.
It was probably worse, though.
This is the one with the strippers dancing and simulated stuff. It's like, why is that in here? Why do we have these assets? And over in Europe, Meta is not allowed to monetize the way that they used to. They got in a lot of trouble for that. And they tried to get people to pay directly. They tried to worm their way around it in various ways. And I think they got shut down there. And so they decided to immediately do the same kind of thing again, which is interesting.
Meta will start using data from EU users to train its AI models, but the Europeans can opt out. I don't really have high confidence. They probably already have trained using European user data.
Oh, yeah.
See also that it's like, we'll just use these book torrents.
And we learned many things about Zuckerberg's testimony and the trial that's going on. And one of the things that we've learned is that he figured out people, like the friend system on Facebook, no one cares. No one uses it like that anymore. And he was trying to think like, maybe we should go to a follower system like Twitter and all that stuff. And he had a crazy idea.
He said that we can boost Facebook's relevance by making everyone start from scratch, deleting everybody's friend relationships and letting them add it back.
As followers. Which I guess the friends requires both ends to agree, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so followers would not. I guess that's the big thing there. It's funny because you can read the emails between him and the other guy, like the number one guy, and he was like, Mark, I don't really understand what you're talking about here.
Also,
explain
yeah,
that
that
to
would
me.
really annoy. Like, I can't. Like, users would be furious because then it's like, oh, I wanted to find a friend of mine from ages ago, and I was friends with them, and now they're not on my friend list. I have to go around and find them again. You're giving users a lot of work there.
And here's one that we have to question. Was this incompetence or was this a little bit malicious? Was this on purpose? Because they did a really bad job.
Meta pissed off everyone with poorly redacted documents. And by everyone, they mean Apple and Google and some other companies, because they all share information about user analytics and how many people use their messaging app and so on and so forth. And to an extent, that benefits Meta. Meta can say, hey, nobody uses our messaging app. Everybody uses Apple's messaging app. That was supposed to be redacted, and the judge okayed that being redacted from the transcript of the court. But Meta's lawyers did a really terrible job actually doing that.
Now, they did redact, but if I understand it correctly, I don't know what technology they were using here, but they basically did add a layer to the image and put the redactions on the top layer.
Yeah.
Which could just be swiped away.
Yeah. You can use just the cursor to just highlight it and copy it to the clipboard and paste.
And so revealed some secrets that the other companies weren't.
Turns out in a modern document, you can't just draw a black rectangle over, vectorized text. That doesn't work.
You also can't use the mosaic blur or anything like that either, because AI can just pick that apart easily. And Meta also not making friends with this.
Meta blocks Apple Intelligence on Facebook and its other iOS apps. So Apple Intelligence could read and help you summarize it in a text box or help you formulate a message. And it's like widget controls for you build an application and here's a text box. It's do you want Apple Intelligence automatically in this text box? And it's on by default. So Facebook has said, no, we're not going to do that.
Probably they want to get paid, right?
Yeah.
For that, because they're going to use that for training data. Whatever you punch in your...
Which is really ballsy, isn't it, after what they're doing?
I mean, one thing about Zuckerberg, he is ballsy. See the metaverse. And Krista, this proves that you are an influencer because for years you've been saying...
That's the only reason to have a Facebook account.
There it is.
Facebook is just Craigslist now.
I read this and it's like, I asked my wife about it and I was like, I didn't realize that Krista's husband wrote for The Atlantic. It's like, I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Facebook Marketplace. There's a difference.
Yeah. I don't look at the feed. I'm just there to look at the trash in the Facebook Marketplace.
So they ran the numbers, and overwhelmingly, most people just spend their time on the marketplace.
Yeah, instead of some people will online shop on Amazon or Temu or whatever. I'm on Marketplace looking for cursed objects.
It's the local flea market guy that I talk to sometimes said that, it was a drought for the last couple of years. And he's like, nobody wanted to buy used stuff. Nobody wanted to buy used furniture. And he said, the last 6 months, it's crazy. Stuff that he couldn't sell at all before is now selling for $100. Because I guess everybody is...
Nobody's got money to buy new.
Yeah.
Now, you might be thinking, well, what's so special about Facebook Marketplace? What can I get there that I can't get someplace else? Well, here's a great example.
Florida woman arrested for selling human remains on Facebook Marketplace.
So she had a couple of skull fragments and I think a piece of a hand.
Oh.
Now, she claimed, hey, these are archaeological and it's totally cool to sell them. So they tested. Some of them were archaeological. The others, quite fresh. Yeah. So she has been booked. She's bonded out. It was only a $7,500 bond, so this wasn't a huge charge, I don't think.
Well, who hasn't gotten caught, selling skulls on online marketplaces?
Also pretty affordable. I mean, $35 for a vertebrae?
Well, that human skull was $600.
Yeah, but the fragments were $90.
Yeah.
So, you could do pay over time. Piece it together yourself.
I was surprised. I found a spine on one of my walks. It was probably a deer spine. And I was trying to Google to figure out what it was. Bones are surprisingly affordable on Etsy. You can just get a bag of bones.
Turns out everybody's got them.
Everyone's got them. Yeah, there's a skeleton inside of you right now.
You know all that meat that we eat that we have no idea where it comes from. We don't think about it. It all generates bones.
No.
And RIP, we talked about this last
Out.
week, and there was just like, oh, is it really gone? And it might actually really be gone.
4chan has been down since Monday night after pretty comprehensive own. Yeah. It's an ancient version of PHP, and they were able to dump a lot of the information, the moderators and janitors' email addresses. A lot of email addresses, a lot of federal agents, as it turns out. The very last post apparently was the chicken.
Chicken jockey.
Yeah.
Chicken jockey.
What if that was all? This whole thing is one big marketing stunt.
I think the chicken jockey thing is, but that's my low stakes conspiracy.
They took 4chan down as a stunt.
Oh, to get buys.
Yeah, because every story has that screenshot, right?
I am slightly surprised that they've been making ad revenue this whole time and have put zero work into the site. That's surprising.
Well, whoever bought it was just, they got it at a bargain basement, right? Because it was going to get shut down and it was in legal trouble. And yeah, what can you expect to get from the cesspool? We need it though. I think that's an important valve to let off some of the pressure, right? For some people.
There's a lot of horrible things on 4chan, but also a lot of good memes that have come out of 4chan.
Take the good with the bad. Now, we recently learned that Mark Zuckerberg's vision of Facebook, the future of Facebook, is that he wants AI to interact with you. You know, your friends aren't interacting with you. They're just shopping. So how about an AI to interact with you? Clearly, Sam Altman looked at that and he said, I don't need a middleman for that.
OpenAI is building a social network.
Why? Who asked for this? I think they're tail spinning right now. DeepSeek has shook them.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Like, why would anybody want this? But I think that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of leaked memos that Tim Cook is also kind of shook by Meta and the metaverse and like the Ray-Ban glasses. And it's like, no, Apple must be this good. But when you have something that ubiquitous, I mean, imagine a pair of glasses that you wear and it's just constantly analyzing and recording everything you do. If something interesting happens, like you see, something interesting happen out in the street, and the AI will automatically turn that into a short or something, and it's like, hey, this interesting thing happened. I've edited it into an interesting video, whatever. Would you like to share it with your friends on your timeline? You can just be like, yep. And then you get engagement on the platform. That's where we're going.
That's
where you're going.
Yeah, that's a hellish future that only socially media addicted people would even think about.
Literally everybody that is super addicted to TikTok, that's the next evolution of TikTok.
I feel like an old person screaming at a cloud, but I don't want to live in that future.
Well, you're going to have the same effect because you're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
It's here to stay. And the other thing that's here to stay is software that you don't own. And one of the, they didn't invent it by any means, but they did sort of like spearhead the modern movement. And people are still a little pissy about it. But they didn't realize that.
Adobe deletes their inaugural Bluesky post after furious backlash. They posted on Bluesky, it's like, hey, we're Adobe, welcome to Bluesky, drop a reply. And then everybody immediately was like, we hate you, Adobe. We
all get out of here.
You're literally just prying open my wallet and reaching in and taking money out. And there's nothing I can do to stop you because I have to have your products to do my job. But you're awful and I hate you.
It's all true.
I can't imagine why they're so surprised by this. It reminds me of the door-to-door Spectrum salesmen that come to my house. And they're like, dude, why are you treating us like this?
I hope Procreate was in the replies with like the nail polish emoji.
And over at X, which is actually Twitter, they have decided to keep renaming things, which is stupid.
X's direct messaging feature is getting rebranded as XChat.
Slide into your X doesn't sound as good and also could be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I don't like that. That screams like Elon had some free time. Yeah. And so he went and put his fingers in the pie again and they were like, okay, whatever.
He was just in that like beautiful spot where he wasn't asleep yet, but he was just riding the ketamine dragon hard. And he was like, oh, I gotta make a note of this.
He immediately got on a conference call. He woke up all the developers and was like, we got to change this.
Now, your little vision of the future there for your Ray-Ban sunglasses, well, obviously that's dystopian and horrible, and we should do everything we can to fight it, but we're kind of getting it already.
LAPD publishes crime footage it got from a Waymo driverless car. Turns out they could just ask Waymo. It's like, hey, did you happen to have a car in this area around this time? And they did, and the footage is there. It is.
So somebody hit a pedestrian. It wasn't Waymo was not involved. Waymo was parked. But they hit a pedestrian, and the cops were like, hey, that's a Waymo. And sure enough, they got the video. Now, Waymo said, we only get involved if there's a subpoena or a warrant. I don't know if there was in this case, but they got it. So just keep in mind.
Literally everything
Waymo's
is
a
being
snitch.
recorded.
Watch out for those snitches on wheels. And the TVs, we all know, are advertising to us in every way that they can, and you can't turn it off. It's just there, and if you do find a way to turn it off, that's going to last till your next update, and then it's going to stop. And they look at that and they say, yeah, let's make that worse.
LG's TV integrated ads get more personalized with tech that analyzes viewer emotion. And pretty soon, you ain't going to be able to turn this off.
Drink verification can. That was a 4chan post from like 2016, and it is just.
And we'll never get another one of those. 4chan goes away.
I know. Oh, that was like a prophet rising up just to give us that post and then disappearing back into the ether.
Now, this is not yet the TV looking at you, although that probably is happening in some cases. But this technology is actually your advertising ID being carried over, and like this company learning everything that it can about you, putting you in a bucket, then monitoring what you're watching on the television and trying to guess what mood that put you into in order to show you a commercial that fits your personality profile and the mood of whatever you're watching.
It's going to be weird for hate watchers.
You think the TV producers will start, it's like, oh, we're 15 minutes into the episode, we need to go for this mood because that's where the ad money is going to be.
Oh.
Let's piss the audience off.
So much content is already just like based on like social media clout, and now it's going to be worse for advertising.
Add another metric to track. And we are getting ready to go into a world that I remember this being promised not to happen. You guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Said we wouldn't be doing this.
Boarding passes and check-in could be scrapped in air travel shakeup. This is the EU. Apparently, the UN is backing plans for this. But basically, it's going to be all facial recognition and biometrics.
And phone. And you won't be able to opt out because the old systems are going to be torn out. And Discord, are we going to have to stop using Discord?
Yes, it's coming. It's not happened yet, but it's coming.
It's so annoying.
Discord begins testing facial scans for age verification.
Drink verification can.
So they have the Roblox problem. Obviously, if you know anything about Discord, there's some places where, certain people are looking to interact. And so they're saying that now, I don't know if you think it'll be the adults or the children who have to, because isn't facial recognition for children another
Everyone will have to.
But if you facial recognize kids, doesn't that cross some other lines?
As long as you don't save the data, no.
Yeah, like they don't save the data. Come on.
But yeah,
Be real.
It does maybe for now. Like the AI is going to, so let's say you post a meme, right? And it's a little too spicy. And it's going to blur it, and you have to click to unblur. And if they think you're under a certain age, then you're going to have to scan your face to see it. And probably to enter some of the
Chat
the
rooms
Discords.
entirely, yeah.
And Automattic are part of the WordPress world. They're the parent company, and they have been doing some things that made a lot of people upset. And when those people get upset, as is the new thing in big tech, you leak it, right? And they hate it, much like Mark Zuckerberg. They came up with a novel plan.
Following layoffs, Automattic employees discover leak-catching watermarks. So their internal system, which is called P2, which is also a thing that Automattic sells, apparently is capable of watermarking all the stuff so they know who downloaded which document if screenshots or the documents make it to the internet.
So I think the way they caught it is somebody had dark mode turned on in their browser or whatever. It matches the color of the site background. And I'm like, well, what is this? And these are web developers, so they were able to go and look, and it's like, oh, everybody gets a different mark. And Facebook's doing it. Google's doing it. Everybody's doing it. Apple has an interesting way that they say they're doing it. I don't trust them, as usual.
Apple to analyze user data on devices to bolster AI technology. But they say, don't worry, this definitely protects your privacy.
So Apple is training on synthetic data. But they've learned that synthetic data, not as good as the real thing. It's kind of like that fake meat. And so they're saying, well, what we're going to do is, we're going to keep using synthetic data, but we're going to take your real data and we're going to compare them. And maybe if the synthetic data is a little off, maybe we'll put some of that data in there, just to liven it up a little bit. Because our AI efforts are in trouble. And here, the security section, we have the leaks. Every week, you got the leaks.
Oh,
Insurance firm Lemonade says API glitched, exposed some driver's license numbers.
Oops.
This was another one of those things. What was the other insurance firm that did this exact same thing? They want like a zero friction experience for you to get a quote, so they don't make you log in or anything. It's just like, hey, put your information in, we'll give you the quote, and it exposed the fact that, first of all, they already have your data. And very similarly,
Hertz says customers' personal data and driver's licenses have been stolen in a data breach. And wasn't this basically everything?
Oh, yeah. The list was... think about all the things you got to tell a rental car company.
Have you ever dealt with Hertz? I've got some bad news for you. Comprehensively bad. Universally bad. Extra mega bad.
Do you remember all the O.J. Simpson Hertz jokes? They were so good. And here is a indication that maybe the lottery is not a good idea, because if we can do this now, imagine what we're going to be able to do with AI and quantum technology.
Wall Street Journal's headline is how a secretive gambler called the Joker took down the Texas lottery. This wasn't really that big of a deal. It was basically just they realized that when the jackpot in this particular lawyer gets so big that you could just print all of the possible numbers fairly inexpensively. So they bought the machines to do that.
From lottery.com, which sells the machines.
Which seems like an oversight.
Yeah, the state rep said that these guys were stealing, and it went to court. And I think that is a libel suit that they would also win, or a slander suit that they would win, because it was perfectly legal.
But I think they've noped out, right?
No,
Is it legal, though, if you're the proprietor who's selling the tickets, presumably, although they were buying from lottery.com online.
And they bought the machines to make the tickets. When you buy the ticket, the machine phones home and it's like, these tickets were, so you can't defraud it.
But the arbitrage play works. I mean, I guess there was a small chance they could have missed it, but they didn't. And they got, what was it, like 90 million?
Yeah.
And they spent, I think, like 60?
Yeah.
Hell of a gamble, though, right?
Yeah. And Texas didn't want to pay, but it was perfectly legal.
Well, they had already paid by the time they figured it out. Mm. And in Texas, I didn't know this was an option everywhere. You can do full anonymous lottery win. You don't have to tell anybody. You ever see those pictures of people who win the lottery and they have to do the press conference and they wear gloves and long sleeves and a ski mask because they don't want people to know. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And finally, a fun little, anti-tech billionaire thing. I think we might be seeing more and more of this.
Hacked crosswalks in the Bay Area play deepfake-style messages from tech billionaires. So this is pretty hilarious. Good job, Bay Area.
It's long speeches. I don't know how much memory that thing has, but yeah, it's Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, and basically the one from Elon Musk is hilarious because it's talking about him being so alone and money not making him happy.
Hello, this is Elon Musk. Welcome to Palo Alto, the home of Tesla engineering.
Yeah. He's not a popular man anymore. Remember when the world just celebrated him?
I feel like none of them are really well celebrated anymore. Probably for the best.
Maybe he'll turn out to be he's had his own personal journey, and now he realizes that what he has wrought is terrible, and that he will instead turn his fortune and energies towards shoring up democracy.
You think he's going to have the worm tongue moment where he has the single tear as he looks out over the armies? Doesn't matter. Wormtongue did not have a happy ending in the book.
Even if he did come to that conclusion, what could he do?
There's probably a lot.
He would be locked up so fast.
Anyway, we will see you guys on Friday for AI robot nonsense.
Woo!
Bye.